Lowe's knows that free is just better. That's why MyLowe's Rewards is free to join. As a member, you earn points towards MyLowe's money on eligible purchases, get exclusive free gifts, and earn free shipping at Silver Key status, all on top of weekly member-only deals. Don't wait. Join MyLowe's Rewards for free today and start saving more. Lowe's, we help, you save. Loyalty program subject to terms and conditions. Details at lowes.com/terms. Subject to change.
You know, some people say that Odoo business management software is like fertilizer, the way it promotes growth and all. But other people say Odoo is like a magic beanstalk because it grows with your company and is also magically affordable. And there's some people who would even say Odoo's individual software programs come together to build the perfect suite like building blocks. Well, Odoo is all of these things. Fertilizer, magic beanstalk, building blocks for business. So sign up now at odoo.com, ODOO.com.
Well, just because you can see something from space doesn't mean it's big.
So you're saying the fires aren't big?
No, I'm just talking about something's relative size from space.
You are impossible to talk to most of the time.
I get that a lot.
Hey, guys, look at this.
Jesus, what are you doing?
So I went to that gaming convention over the weekend, and I thought of this amazing game. I invented it. Look out. I call it Flaming Jarts and Jenga.
That is an amazing name.
Thank you. So the concept is you take one of these jarts, and I painted them like little Boeing 737s, and you light this little fuse on it, and then you toss it towards the Jenga replica of the Twin Towers, and... well, I missed, but it would have gone.
You're really terrible at this.
And you don't think people are going to be pissed off because you're making a game out of 9/11?
Cecil, nobody's going to get mad about this.
Literally everyone will get mad about this.
I will make a list. 1, nobody's going to get mad. And 2, I have no idea what this has to do with a convenience store, so it doesn't even matter.
That's 7-Eleven, not 9/11.
Or baby clothing. I don't know that either. Hello and welcome to Citation Needed, the podcast where we choose a subject, read a single article about it on Wikipedia, and pretend we're experts. Because this is the internet, and that's how it works now. I'm Eli Bosnick, and I'll be the tinfoil to this hat today, but I'll need some co-conspirators. First up, 2 men who I'm not saying are Jewish, but they look Jewish. Heath and Noah.
Well, I didn't go to work at the Twin Towers on 9/11.
Anti-Semitic.
There's that.
Ooh, coincidence? And also joining us tonight, 2 men who I'm not saying are lizards, but they look like lizards. Cecil and Tom.
Only I could lick my eyeball. That would be amazing.
Don't let Eli know you need a guy for that.
All right, Eli, for the last time, I only went there because I thought herpetologist meant herpes doctor. It doesn't. And I still have a problem.
What does it mean?
Now,
It's
before
no
we take
fun.
the red pill tonight, I'd like to take a moment to thank our patrons. Without your financial support, our desperate grab for attention would lead to anti-PC shilling and then tonight's subject in a matter of months. It's because of you, we'll never use an Eye of Horus as a thumbnail. If you'd like to learn how to join their ranks, be sure to stick around till the end of the show. Or if you were searching for something to confirm your biases because you're mentally ill and 9/11 truthers prey on that illness by telling you delusional paranoia is actually secret knowledge, go to a doctor. And with that out of the way, tell us, Noah, what person, place, thing, concept, phenomenon, or event will we be talking about today?
Well, today we're going to be talking about 9/11 truthers.
And Tom, you obviously didn't have enough fun at my expense 2 weeks ago. Are you ready to dig up some painful memories?
Well, remember, Eli, it's your fault you're you.
Ain't it the truth? So tell us, Tom, who really done did 9/11?
All right. So obviously everybody knows that 9/11 was a terrible tragedy. But what you probably don't know is that 9/11 was really an insider plot by George W. Bush and the Illuminati as an excuse to back their way into a war in Iraq to secure for the U.S. both the oil and monoatomic gold that they feed to the lizard people who are disguised as Jewish industrialists.
So much.
And if that sounds a little far-fetched, then maybe it's time you all spent a little more time watching YouTube documentaries and a little less time in history and physics classes.
Okay. Hey, I'm Tom. Virginity is a herd flu. See, now we both did impersonations of each other. That's how we're going to do it today. You can see.
All right. Well, since I know that there's going to be naysayers, and today being 9/11, I thought we could spend a little bit of time going through the conspiracy theories, which, by the way, are all very true, even the ones that contradict the other ones.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So let's start with something we can all agree on. We clearly shot down that plane over Pennsylvania. That we know
no,
we
we didn't.
Yes, we did.
No, we didn't. No, we didn't.
There's no way we didn't shoot that fucking
happened.
plane.
That happened,
down.
and so did Major Kong ride that missile into the Pentagon. That happened too. Keith. That's the same level of credibility.
All right. So on the off chance that anyone listening to this is very, very young and also very, very poorly educated, both which seem equally likely, I'll give you a little bit of background here, maybe unnecessary. In the morning of 9/11/2001, 4 airplanes, possibly holograms, crashed. One into each of the World Trade Center towers, one into the Pentagon, and one into Pennsylvania. Sadly, Pennsylvania did survive.
Right. We clearly shot down that hologram over Pennsylvania. The hologram didn't really do any damage when it crashed. It makes it confusing.
That was a very special episode of Gem when the hologram crashed.
Hey, they were all very special, Cecil.
All right. So I think reasonable people would at least agree that the facts here remain in dispute, although I guess people who use actual reason in that reasoning would argue that at least one side of that dispute is fucking crazy.
Okay, the other side of that dispute is Dick Cheney. They can both be crazy.
Yeah,
They can both be crazy.
So the official story is that Al-Qaeda, led by Osama bin Laden, organized the hijacking of 4 airplanes using box cutters and 19 angry guys, mostly from Saudi Arabia.
Racist. Some of them were very calm, as I understand it.
And once they had control of the 3 of the airplanes, the hijackers flew the planes into their targets. After crashing into the Twin Towers, the towers collapsed. A 3rd plane slammed into the Pentagon, as I mentioned before, and the 4th plane was piloted into the ground in a field in Pennsylvania, very likely because passengers fought the hijackers, preventing the 4th plane from reaching its target, which was probably the White House. Now, Al-Qaeda claimed responsibility by saying, yeah, that was us, and also here's why we did it. But since that's too obvious, something far more elaborate and far less likely is almost certainly what happened.
But who can forget those heroic last words in Pennsylvania? I've already missed my layover anyway, so fuck it, right? This is better than a night in Dulles, I tell you that.
All right, and despite this relatively straightforward narrative, conspiracy theories took hold immediately following the attacks. Very quickly, the 9/11 truth movement began spreading online across forums within hours. And these conspiracy theories focused on anomalies in the evidence. One might be tempted to claim that you'd need a comparable world event to compare this to in order to have a baseline for which something would be anomalous, but you would be wrong because the internet is full of really great detectives.
If you're looking for Jews.
The internet is really full of great detectives. Just look at a great job they did during that Boston bomber manhunt. They fucking did a bang-up job there.
Well, they found a man. They were hunting for a man. They found one.
All right, so these conspiracy theories can be roughly divided into 3 types. There's the first set, the lie hop theories, or let it happen on purpose theories. And these all share the central idea that the attacks were allowed to happen by top government officials. And in some of these theories, the attacks were ignored and thus allowed to happen. In others, the defense systems of the United States were purportedly weakened to allow for the attacks. Then there's the MIHOP theories, or make it happen on purpose. These theories posit that forces within the government not only allowed the attacks to happen, but that they actively worked to encourage the attacks, collaborated with Al-Qaeda, or framed Al-Qaeda for the attacks.
Yeah, we framed them so fucking well, they actively claimed responsibility. Just inception the fuck out of Al-Qaeda. Side note, if you want your conspiracy theory to be taken seriously, maybe don't have it rhyme with a pancake restaurant when you put it in for your
There you
acronym.
go. There you go. Or don't have it contain bunny words. How about
The hop is a weakness.
All right. And then the third type is, well, it's basically just like all the other ones. And I kind of love this category. It's generally, these are the theories that have nowhere else to live, right? The idea here is that the attacks didn't happen the way we were told, or maybe not by the actors that we were told to blame, but rather than stake out their own theories, they just simply attempt to disprove the case the government has made. And this set of plucky doubters believes that once they disprove the government's explanation, then the people will rise up and demand a new theory from a new investigation. And we'll get some real answers now, damn it.
I just love that there's literally a category that can be best summed up as nuh-uh.
All right, so some conspiracy theorists point to suspected insider trading as evidence that powerful figures had foreknowledge of these attacks. And indeed, I mean, to be fair, there were a number of abnormal put options placed on United and American Airlines stocks just before the attacks. If by just before you mean several days to weeks before, those put options were specific to the airlines used in the attacks. And the conspiracy nuts believe that there are no coincidences. So, there you have it. Clearly someone knew something, and probably it was the
Almost
Jews.
certainly.
Yeah, that tracks, though. I mean, put options are the Jewish ones, if we're going to split it out. Christians only use call options because they're true patriots, and they don't hate fucking freedom. Christians believe in numbers going up. That's the Christian way.
If it's put options are the reason, then Al Qaeda's planning to attack our soybeans, I think, right now.
Perhaps maybe there might be something to the extraordinary number of put options, except that this was noticed and it was exhaustively investigated. And it turned out that 95% of the put options taken were actually taken by a single institutional investor with no conceivable ties to Al Qaeda. And then these put options were taken just a few days before that same investor also purchased 115,000 shares of American on September the 10th.
The best theory.
So, probably not the case that the World Trade Center towers were destroyed in some weird attempt by a finance geek to get just a little bit richer.
So it was a hedge. That's what was happening there. So just to be clear, put options are what you would buy if you think the price of something is going to go down. So the guy bought airline stock hoping the price would go up, and he also bought put options so he wouldn't lose as much if the stock went down. That's a hedge. Who the fuck would make a conservative hedging bet if they knew that 9/11 was about to happen?
Right.
Because that guy fucking whiffed, right? Like firemen, EMTs, sure, but that guy's weak sucks.
Well, and also, let's be super clear. Even if this explanation is a ruse and it really was somebody else who put the put options, it wouldn't fucking matter. Every theory that has or even could be proposed, including the official story, has people that know about it before it happens.
All right. So another theory is the stand down theory. So the claim here is that NORAD either issued a stand down order or just intentionally didn't get interceptor jets in the air in time to thwart the attack. Now, proponents of this theory contend that NORAD just fucking totally knew about these planes and they had the knowledge and the capability to intercept them and thwart the attack. And they just decided not to do it because reasons.
Well, Tom, the supercomputer was too busy tracking Santa and playing tic-tac-toe. It was busy.
You got a lot of shit to
Computers
do.
back then didn't have a lot of RAM.
All right. Well, beside that, Cecil, the theory does have a few problems. So most of them having to do with some subset of, that's not how NORAD fucking works. So the first problem here is that the hijackers pretty much immediately flipped off the plane's fucking transponder. So the transponder is the little electronic beepy thing that tells the world where the goddamn plane's at. Now, that day, there were approximately 4,500 blips on NORAD's radar. No one was yet worried about this, and the planes were no longer identifying themselves. The planes were silent notes in a sea of overwhelming visual noise.
Okay, fair enough, but maybe we don't give the transponders an off switch. I can't really think of a great reason why we'd want to lose track of 400 tons of seal. You know what I'm
It's
saying?
like, hey, boss, there's a button that says ghost mode right here on the plane. Is that anybody using that for fun pranks? Maybe we just stop having it. Unless the fun pranks are really good, we stop.
JetBlue on ghost mode.
Okay, all right. Also, like if we couldn't turn off the transponder, how could we enjoy long form Atlantic articles about the loss of MH370s? So like that's worth the fucking trade, obviously.
Right. Oh yeah, no, I get it.
It's also worth noting that on 9/11/2001, to cover the whole of the contiguous U.S., we had a whopping 14 fighter jets on alert. And the standing orders for those jets restricted them from flying at supersonic flight speeds.
Why?
Right, because nobody thought this was going to happen because it had never done that before, I think.
Yeah, and you'd blow out windows and shit like that.
Regular old civilian air traffic control, they didn't even have any kind of like automated connection directly to NORAD. This hasn't been a thing. The last hijacking was in 1979. So they had to physically pick up the phone and dial NORAD. And I'm guessing they probably got routed to a call center in India at the time.
Yeah.
Hello, NORAD. There might be a terrorist attack, I'm pretty sure. To repeat these options, press star. What the fuck is happening? What a human being.
Yeah, and if we distributed the fighter jets like the Senate, every square foot of the country gets the same number of votes, then each fighter jet represented 252,000 square miles. So, they had a big area to cover.
Okay, but unlike the Senate, we don't have to pretend other states matter. And there are way fewer than 14 states that matter. I'm just saying, Cecil. We had the technology.
That's true.
All right. So it's also important to remember that, like, again, NORAD was not on the lookout for this type of attack. Nobody was. And so none of the systems in place were meant to handle this. The longest warning that NORAD had was 8 minutes from finding out that Flight 11 was hijacked. They found out about Flight 175 pretty much as it was crashing into the South Tower. The FAA reported Flight 77, the one that hit the Pentagon. They reported that fucking thing as missing, not hijacked. And NORAD had a whopping 3 minutes. Flight 93 became known to NORAD 3 minutes after it got intimate with the Pennsylvania bedrock.
Huh. The only one that was after. Interesting.
Shut it down.
God, interesting.
Shut it down.
Jesus
Clearly
Christ.
shut it down. Clearly shut it down.
God damn it. Kick these two off the podcast. What the fuck?
All right. So there's another
Clearly
great
shot it down.
foreknowledge theory. And this one is that Israeli agents had knowledge of the attacks. Now, this comes out of an arrest that was made a few hours after the attack by the FBI. There were 5 Israelis arrested filming the smoking New York skyline from the roof of a white van. And they were arrested for, and I kind of love this, puzzling behavior.
What?
Because, I guess somehow seeing New York on fire shouldn't have caused anyone to pull out a camera. This is a statement that seems insane, given that my phone's camera now has its own filter just so I can take pictures of my food. Right? Now, it was later learned that they were reported by bystanders for not looking shocked enough. So 2 of these 5 guys, and this is kind of interesting, they turned out to be Israeli intelligence operatives, but the FBI cleared them of any knowledge of the attacks. And that makes fucking sense because, if you were one of the guys that knew this was going to be happening, you wouldn't be surprised and you wouldn't be standing there filming it as if everyone back home was going to be like, Pixar, it didn't happen when you told them about this.
Everyone missed the giant applause sign on Trump Tower that day. It was right there, right in the open.
All right. Well, Tom, we know the why, but we have yet to discover the what the fuck are you talking about? So we'll take a quick break for a little something we like to call apropos of nothing.
Lou, doing demolition stuff. Demolition stuff is my favorite stuff.
I don't think we've met. I'm Chad Smith.
Oh, hello, Chad. I'm Moishiran.
Well, nice to meet you. Moishiran? Where'd you transfer in from? I haven't seen you around.
Israel, Wisconsin.
Israel,
Wisconsin.
there. I'm from Wisconsin.
Yeah, it's a small town.
Oh, all right. I get it. I got a cousin in Branson, so. Jim Smith. You know Jim Smith?
No.
Oh, that's too bad, good guy. What are you putting up there?
Oh, this is, stress relief putty.
Oh, I got it. Yeah, that Chinese stuff. Yeah, my wife is into that stuff. Listen, anyway, if you need me, I'm right on the other side of that beam over there, huh?
Good.
What?
I said good news, neighbor.
Hi, I'm Eli Bosnick, member of the Jewish media.
And I'm Heath Enright. We sure have had a lot of fun covering our tracks today, but it's important to remember, if you don't come to our live show on October 12th, we will do another 9/11.
That's right, Heath. With nearly 18 years worth of stolen basement gold running thin, live shows for Citation Needed podcast is what keeps us afloat. And if you don't buy your tickets, well, let's just say that Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark is due for a major accident.
I think that show's out of theaters.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Hadestown.
Yeah, okay. People love that show. Mm-hmm.
Got it. Well, we'll do them then.
Great. But you don't have to buy tickets just to prevent mass terror. We've got VIP tickets.
No, we do not. They are sold out.
Okay. Well, we've got platinum tickets. And
There are two of those left when we record this.
There's two left. But there are tickets.
Yep, there are probably some maybe. You should get your tickets fast. Tickets in the show notes is what we're saying.
Hey guys, what do you do with the mics?
Nothing.
Hats.
Mic hats.
Really? Really? What did I say about wearing the mics as hats?
You look amazing.
That's right.
Mic hats.
And we're back. Tom, when last we left, you were repeating a lot of my talking points from 2011 and 12. Would you like to stop doing that now?
I would very much not, actually. So we now arrive at the controlled demolition theories. Now, hang on to your tinfoil, gentlemen, because this is fucking crazy shit. The demolition theory nuts contended that the aircraft impacts and the resulting fucking infernos were not somehow sufficient to bring down the buildings. That the buildings would not have collapsed completely, and that the buildings would have fallen more slowly.
They would have accelerated at less than 9.8 meters per second squared downwards. Also, they would have fallen not quite so downishly, directly downishly.
Yeah, that'll get you.
Right. Yes, right. Well, exactly, because like under normal circumstances, they'd have to get at least a few steps out of the ledge before they even looked down and noticed that they had to fall.
Yeah, buildings need to fall. 9/11 truthers like to take things slowly. First, you have to woo the building, then you have to court the building for a good amount of time. Then it's going to go down, but you got to it's got to go at its own pace, guys. Its own pace.
All right, so several proponents of this theory penned an article, and it was published in the Open Chemical Physics Journal, and it claimed that thermite and nanothermite composites in the dust and ruin of the buildings, this was evidence of explosives. Problematically for this theory, the actual demolitions experts contend that the amount of explosives that would have been needed to weaken steel would have left rather more than trace composites because, and I actually checked the math on this one, these were really big buildings. There was also no chain of possession for the steel that they tested, the steel beams. No isolation of the beams that were being tested from, say, acetylene cutting torches. And basically, no one knows what sample they tested or how that sample was obtained. And the sample had very little thermite on it anyway, even though a lot would have been needed. And the author's answer was, and I am dead serious here, that maybe it was something actually called super thermite, which does not exist.
Hey, boss, the guy says they have regular thermite and also super thermite. What, just get the regular? Just get the regular?
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Maybe we get the super for like the thing in September, but okay, there's just the regular for now.
Yeah. Thermite's how Mike Tyson talks about his pest problem with the organ.
Also, so like, actual demolition experts working the smoldering ruins of 9/11, at no point did any of them notice any of these signs of thermite, which this seems like something that the demolition guys may have pointed out, right? Now, proponents of the theory are also at a loss to explain how demolition experts could have placed the quantities of explosives needed on the structural supports of the fucking building without anyone ever noticing.
Right.
I gotta tell you, Frank, your hang in there, baby poster looks awful lumpy. Can you get it square?
But the other big thing is that they also never explain why you would add this step. Right? Like if all you're going to get out of it is faster falling. Like they were sitting there going, guys, look, if this takes 13 seconds to collapse, we're going to look like a bunch of assholes.
No shit.
I know there were some other claims that molten steel was found in the rubble, and the molten steel was evidence of explosives. So this is the whole like jet fuel doesn't melt steel beams thing. And I mean, that's true for what it's worth, except that it's not worth anything because there's no fucking evidence of any of this molten steel. The images cited as being evidence of molten steel, these include images of what was supposedly molten right next to construction equipment working around the glowing, smoking ruins. And I mean, those images are admittedly impressive, but fire that is on or near or among metal is not actually evidence of liquid metal. The construction equipment working the scene would not have been able to work in and among molten steel without being severely damaged by it. So basically, like, things were crazy and hot and smoky and all red and stuff, but that's not the same thing as molten.
Yeah. I mean, metal is at 100% integrity until it completely melts. That's why for thousands of years we've been heating it up and pounding on it and nothing happens. Nothing happens to it at all.
Yeah, the jet fuel doesn't melt steel beams was the real rollout for sword nerds. They really came through for us there.
Who was arguing that the building melted, though?
Then Jesse Ventura got involved. You guys remember from fucking Predator? Jesse Ventura tried to demonstrate that the buildings were totally done in by thermite. And so to demonstrate this, he hired a company called New Mexico Tech to demonstrate how nanothermite could totally fucking slice through a steel beam. It's a great demonstration, for sure. But it's mostly a demonstration of how that actually doesn't work. In the demonstration, there was like a shit ton of flame, but in the end, it was all sound and fury cutting through nothing. The steel beam was unharmed.
Sound and fury cutting through nothing. Sounds like Jesse's gubernatorial career, too. So
I was going to say as intellect, but sure, yeah.
All right, now, for what it's worth, the National Institute of Standards and Technology did, however, conclude that if you take a massive goddamn airplane full of jet fuel and slam that fucker at hundreds of miles an hour into the side of a building, that's really bad for the building, and it will totally and completely collapse. No fucking problem. The media, unfortunately, reported in the days after the attacks that the fires melted the steel, causing the collapse. The scientists never claimed this. The actual claims made by structural engineers was that the fires and the impact weakened the steel beams, that the beams, once severely weakened, collapsed.
Yeah, the building doesn't have to completely liquefy before it might fall down. Jet fuel burns up to 1,500 Fahrenheit and steel loses half its strength at 1,100. It doesn't have to be a puddle of steel for this to make sense.
No, the building needs to lower itself into the vat of lava while it gives you the thumbs up. I have seen the documentary, Terminator 2.
All right, so we got to move on from that. Conspiracy nuts have some fucking really wild shit to say about the Pentagon. So one claim is that Flight 77 didn't actually crash into the Pentagon at all. That didn't even happen for these guys. Instead, these guys contend that it was a cruise missile and that Flight 77, I don't even know.
Yeah, well, Flight 77 was a Kidman missile then, I guess. I don't know.
Maybe it's still circling endlessly above LAX. That's
We're sitting on the tarmac at JFK.
Yeah. You could do that for a long time.
So this bonkers fucking claim is predicated on the fucking nutso idea that the hole in the Pentagon is smaller than the airplane that hit it. And this is a quote. How does a plane 125 feet wide and 155 feet long fit into a hole which is only 60 feet across? And my
fit into
also, like, why does it matter how long it is?
It's a transformer makes the sound as it jumps through.
Like, I actually, that's a, like, it doesn't matter how long it is. That's just general good thinking. Is what I'm saying. Just don't pay attention to that.
You
don't get in there.
Put the plane in there.
They just like power slide it into the side of the Pentagon.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
So, like, my favorite answer to this stupid fucking question comes from Purdue professor of civil engineering, and he argues that quote, a crashing jet doesn't punch a cartoon-like outline of itself into a reinforced concrete building. When Flight 77 hit the Pentagon, one wing hit the ground and the other was sheared off by the Pentagon's load-bearing columns. Oh, and there's also like airplane bits and bobs just like all over the fucking place, which you probably wouldn't have if there had just been a missile, because up until this actual day, most of the missiles were made of relatively few airplanes.
or you could just tie a crate of airplane parts to a missile. That's
Right.
Cecil gets it.
Some guy's just putting up like a modern art exhibit of random airplane parts in the Pentagon. Don't worry about it.
Now, as for Flight 93, conspiracy theorists contend that passengers didn't actually revolt against the hijackers causing the plane to crash before hitting its target. Instead, they claim that the plane was actually shot down by a fighter jet. Now, this claim is based on the assertion that the engine of the plane was found miles away from the main body of the wreckage. Now, this is a result which would be more consistent with a mid-air explosion than a crash. I have no idea if that's actually true, but you don't need to know because it's not how it works. The engine was scattered 300 yards from the main crash site. And also, as we established before, NORAD had virtually no time to get jets into the air to intercept Flight 93, even if they had wanted to blow.
They had an hour and 21 minutes between the first tower getting hit and when they shot down Flight 93. Just like people were Snapchatting it. They had like followers on Instagram for the Flight 93. They had plenty of time.
Except it's on its way to San Francisco, turns around in Ohio, the transponder's off. But yeah, you're right, Heath. They had plenty of time not to find it. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
100% shot that plane.
I'm going to kick you in the shin the next time I see you, Eli Bosnick. I'm going to kick you in the shin.
Stop trying to confuse it with facts, Cecil. We shot it down.
I'm kicking you in the shin too, Keith. You guys are both getting kicked in the shin.
So other nutters note that the debris was found by local residents 8 miles away from the crash site, right? So totally a midair explosion. And yeah, okay, maybe, except that what they found 8 miles away was mostly paper and like bits of charred insulation. So basically that's stuff the wind would just carry. And after a major jet crash and a subsequent massive fireball, there was plenty of fucking wind to go around. Also, the 8 mile figure, that's driving 8 miles. In a straight line, it was 1 mile.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, wow. And also, I lived in Pennsylvania. I can see how that insulation was motivated to get the fuck out of there.
Okay, skeptics all around, but you haven't answered my real theory about how we know we shot that plane down. The fake hero story we made up is tragically American. Come on, let's roll. Australians,
you.
Maybe. Americans, never.
Absolutely not.
Would have gotten up and been like, they said keep your seatbelt fastened.
Let's roll eyes.
Let's roll our rascal scooter.
Got a little bit of pretzels left. Give me a second.
All right, so internet video sham Loose Change, that claimed that Flight 93 actually landed safely in Ohio, and then a substitute plane was
Yes.
crashed in Pennsylvania.
Sure.
Fucking what?
This claim seizes on an erroneous report confusing Flight 93 with a Delta Flight 1989. And even 9/11 truthers have sought to distance themselves from this claim, noting that, well, that's just fucking stupid and no one's going to take them seriously, so let's just agree not to talk about that one.
Don't want to talk about it. Interesting. The one thing Tom doesn't want to talk about.
There are also some theories about the hijackers themselves, and
Convenient.
these mostly stem from inaccurate initial reporting in the immediate chaos and confusion of the attacks. A BBC report published some of the names of people believed to be hijackers, and to be frank, they just got some of that shit wrong. So since a few of the people they initially claimed as hijackers were in fact still alive, the truther nuts have seized on this bad reporting as evidence that the hijackers were like moon landing level fake, right?
Bad example.
So all of this confusion was cleared up pretty readily afterwards by the BBC,
Also dubious.
the FBI, and the New York Times.
Kill him.
And they noted that part of the problem. They noted that part of the problem was the simple confusion that arose from Arabic names that are common and just coincidentally similar. Nonetheless, truthers still claim this initial report as evidence of a greater conspiracy.
Okay, but even if that's true, to the truthers' credit, the news did a terrible job on 9/11. It was just like,
They did,
it
yes.
looks like the building exploded from the inside by a guy named Ted Danson. Tom, I watched this live 3 seconds ago. Back to Mitch with the weather. Who do you think did it?
Not at all false. Not at all false. So There was also a theory put forth, by the way, by former Bush chief economist Morgan Reynolds, and I love this one so much, that there were no airplanes used in the attacks.
What?
So all that video evidence, and the people on the ground that watched airplanes crash live right into shit. Well, he claims that all of that was just digital compositing.
Oh.
So in other words, just special effects. In fact, in this theory, the buildings were in fact struck by missiles like wearing airplane hologram Halloween costumes.
Halloween costumes, yeah.
Just so we're clear, there's no technology that does this.
No.
But boo, nerd, I guess. It was missiles surrounded by hologram stuff.
Yeah.
And my favorite version of this theory says it was actually airplanes and missiles.
Yep. Yeah.
The plan was to fly a plane within a few feet of the targets and then fire a missile from really close, which...
And then crash into it.
And then what, the plane disappears?
The plane disappears, and it blows up harder from point blank. The missiles do. Because they blow up harder. More.
Absolutely.
And you can accelerate shit.
Yeah.
You can shoot the building up a little bit with that. If you angle it
harder.
Yeah, and
so
it
falls slower.
Yeah, no, Heath, it falls back and to the left. That's what happens. Is that
Okay, well, now we're just mixing our true and our false things. You're confusing people.
So the 9/11 Truther movement has a few noteworthy adherents, including such enlightened intellectual powerhouses as Alex Jones and David Ray Griffith and the aforementioned Jesse Ventura, and also very stable personality Charlie Sheen.
Heath Enright. We're all just asking questions. We're all just asking questions.
Also, guys, in 2004, nobody noticed, but John Buchanan ran for president on a platform calling for 9/11 truth.
Yeah, and a lot of people forget about this one, but during his campaign, Trump promised that if he was elected, we'd learn who really did 9/11, too.
He did.
Oh, my
I
God.
literally had forgotten that.
Yep. February of 2016. Look
Don't worry, Trump won't pin it on Saudi Arabia, that's for sure.
It was Jamal Khashoggi who did it, actually.
Fucking get that guy.
Hacking the building to pieces with machetes. It looks fine. You're all overreacting.
No collusion.
On the truthers themselves fall into three basic categories, right? So the first are the hardcore nuts. Now, these are the guys who make the YouTube videos. These are the guys who go anomaly hunting. They provide the general technical basis for the theories. They typically employ a kind of reverse scientific method wherein the conclusion determines the evidence. In case you're wondering, that's bad. Don't do that.
God, now you tell me.
Everyone's been telling you. All right. Now, the second group, these are the critically turned. So these are the young and the restless, right? These are guys who are primarily just angry at the man and looking for some unifying force to coalesce around their dissatisfaction. So this group, these are the propaganda arm of the movement. They're more concerned with connecting and spreading their message. So they're basically like the infected guy sneezing at the salad bar of the movement. And then the third category of conspiracy adherents, this is the illiterati, right? This is the great teeming masses of credulous dipshits.
Is that an existing term already, or did you just use that for the first time?
This is an existing term, which is my new favorite term. It's my new absolute favorite term in the world.
I can't, how could you live in America in the modern day and not know that term now, right?
It's 62 million, I think there's, last time I checked. Not exactly the round figure. So these are essentially conspiratorial cannon fodder, right? They generally make no pretenses toward deep technical understanding or scientific discipline. These are the ranks. This is the bleacher filler, right? These are your uncle and that guy in accounting who believes the maddeningly stupid shit, not because they thought any of it out, but because it's actually nice to finally be a part of some milquetoast counterculture fake community of self-deluded jackasses.
that doesn't make you get up early on Sunday.
Yeah, and
That's a
I'm
good
just saying,
distinction.
if we knew anyone who was like that, they're only like that until they don't know what the word skeptic means, and so they go up to No Illusions on a toy store floor and talk to him about loose change, and he does a monologue for 25 minutes in front of all the kids about how stupid that movie is, and you have to back away slowly. That's your point too the whole time.
I got a question, though. If we tear down statues, you're removing them from history. Is the same true for buildings? I'm not sure.
That's kind of the crux of the whole thing, right? 9/11 was a monstrous fucking event. This was an event that strains our ability to think and to understand and to really begin to grasp the enormity of the whole thing. It demands that we pull at the threads that hold together our ideas of morality and history and imperialism, religion, politics, self-sacrifice. The more time we spend thinking about this kind of event, the more questions that it engenders, not just in the who and the why, but in our questions of how. The more we have to wrestle with broader questions of good and evil, of our capacity for hate and revenge and violence. Or we can all just decide that the bad guys are cartoon villains, bereft of all humanity. We can simplify every part of the story down to army recruiting slogans about good guys and bad guys, and then we can be comforted in this deception through simplification. So as much as like I'm making fun of it, I kind of get that. Simple answers simplify the impossible, even when they are tragically fucking wrong.
And if you had to summarize what you learned in one sentence, what would it be, Tom?
We shot down that plane.
Shut that plane down.
Fuck you, Heath Enright. Bringing it back up. There we go. Brought it back to life. Hey.
No, wait, I kind of lost myself there. Was I supposed to learn something?
All right, are you ready for the quiz?
Let's roll.
Sounds unrealistic.
I'm going to punch you. All right.
If Tom was on that plane, I would believe the theory.
Absolutely believe that theory. 100%.
Right, Tom,
Yes, sir.
What song were they blaring in the cockpit? A, Crash into WTC. B, Hijacking Diane. C, Heart-shaped box cutter. Or D, Free Fallin'.
All right. Well, we know it's not free falling because that's too fast.
That's right.
So
Absolutely.
We had to
too
slow
fast,
it down.
Too fast.
So
yeah, you got to slow it down.
It's Hijack and Diane. Diane was
Right.
the
No, yeah.
20th
Absolutely.
hijack.
That's fantastic. It's got to be that.
All right, I got one here. This is a tough one for you, Tom. While the bulk of the deaths happened the day of the attack, many still suffer from the after effects of that tragic day. Which group has suffered the most? A, people who had been waiting the whole goddamn offseason for football to start back up, only to see week 2 postponed, just because you could see the smoldering wreckage of the Twin Towers from
my
Rutherford,
God.
New Jersey. Boo fucking
Jesus. I'm uncomfortable.
Jesus Christ.
We got
you
a
people.
fantasy season going. Take this seriously.
B, people who are sick of explaining to their British friends that this didn't happen on November 9th. Or C, people who fly a lot and just have resting "I'd like to blow up a building" face.
All right. Well, clearly it's not B because most Americans don't have British friends. That seems pretty obvious. C is just like that's an obvious nod to you, Noah. So I'm gonna go with the football one because I don't know anything about football, so I just assume that's the answer.
You are correct, sir. I'm
Yes.
still a little bitter
Real
over that.
Victims.
Classy.
All right, we should
Never
be
forget.
we should have fucking Jon Stewart arguing for benefits for us.
Right?
That was ridiculous.
Yes, absolutely. At the very least, we should have a fucking memorial.
At least our money back for that fantasy season from Yahoo. Whatever.
Reparations.
Thank you. About time.
Jesus, there's so much getting cut here. You can just start whenever you want, Heath.
Cecil's just going to put in a little thing at the beginning. Eli couldn't make it again, and Heath couldn't make it at all. Boop, 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 boop. Show.
All right, I got one more for you. Tom, which of the following is a 9/11 conspiracy theory that I have not heard from one of my idiot friends before while at a bar?
I'm like a bunch of these people.
Oh no.
Eli is several, but not all of these, is basically what I'm saying. Yes. A, the World Trade Center had a chamber of secrets with a video of JFK getting killed by George H.W. Bush. So we destroyed that tape with 2 airplanes.
And a building. Yeah.
B, Hillary Clinton's 2016 campaign logo was the letter H for Hillary, with the vertical parts in blue and the horizontal connector piece as a red arrow pointing to the right. Think about that for a second. You got it? Looks exactly
got it.
like the Twin Towers getting hit by an airplane that's traveling from left to right, just like the airplanes did on 9/11.
Depends on which way you're standing
Left
on it.
to
But yeah, I
right.
mean, you could be,
There's
on the
no
other side of the building. And
How come there's no
it's-
video from
it's
right to left? Interesting. Convenient.
right to left, but that's okay.
C, so far it's probably B. C. On September 11th, 2001, the prog metal band Dream Theater released a live album called Live Scenes from New York. And the original cover art showed the New York City skyline inside a big fireball, twin towers right in the middle. Also, not just that, let me finish. Also, I have 4 more shots. Also, these 3 other albums were released that day. Silver Side Up by Nickelback.
Terrorists.
Just terrible. Yes, you listen, the terrorists win, so that makes sense. Also, Airplanes, Silver on the Top. Silver Side Up was the album name. Also, The Building, probably. Some silver coloring on top. Also, Nickelback, Nickel, Loose Change was the name. A later documentary. Also, another album, The Blueprint by Jay-Z. Blueprint, Controlled Demolition, Super Thermite. Also, still going, let me finish. Also, Rockin' the Suburbs by Ben Folds. That's just a great album, just like Quiet Riot did. But seismic waves of a controlled demolition were picked up by Lamont Doherty Earth Observatory in the suburbs. Heath actually worked there. Coincidence?
I quit the show.
So that was C. That was argument C. I may or may not have heard while at a bar from an idiot friend. And D, if you take the names Rothschild, Bilderberg, Rockefeller, Kennedy, Clinton, Obama, Soros, Buffett, Bezos, Zuckerberg, Israel, CIA, and you assign each letter of the alphabet a name from 1 to 26, they all add up to 911. That's right. Exactly 911.
I love that some asshole added CIA to that.
All right, so it's actually secret answer E. You need all new friends, Heath. Scrap the whole
I
fucking
need
lot
all
of them.
new Eli's. That is correct. Which did you guess?
Secret answer E?
Secret answer E. No, it was actually...
You need all new friends?
No,
That's what it said.
Actually, no, he is correct on.
He is?
correct.
I win.
He-
Yes.
he is.
Well,
I
the
win.
Thing,
We're appealing to the judges, and the judges say he's correct. So.
Okay, well, I spent a long time
All right,
doing. I
well,
spent a long time doing the
Cecil-
math on D, and I just want to point out that it was pretty awesome that I eventually got a list that worked to that.
All right, well, since Cecil is on my side and he knows that I win, then I choose Cecil.
Yay. Wait.
I thought you'd be excited. I don't know if that's a good...
I don't think it's good.
Okay.
All right. Well, for Heath, Noah, Cecil, and Tom, I'm Eli Bosnick, thanking you for hanging out with us today. We'll be back next week, and by then, Cecil will be an expert on something else. Between now and then, you can watch Heath and Noah participate in this year's World Crokinole Tournament on ESPN2. You can watch Tom's DIY vlog, Pay a Guy to Fix It on CISO. You can watch Cecil's home movies on my computer if you feel like coming over. We don't have to do anything, I promise. Whatever you want. And if you'd like to help keep this show going, you can make a per episode donation at patreon.com/citationpod or leave us a 5-star review everywhere you can. That matters so much and it costs so little. Please do that. And if you'd like to get in touch with us, check out past episodes, connect with us on social media, or complain about this episode because you decided that your personal tragedy is somehow sacred and shouldn't be joked about, or if you'd like to check the show notes, be sure to check out citationpod.com. And remember, if you hit your kids, you can't listen to our show.
Nope.
No, like lower the mic over one eye, like a gangster.
Oh, okay, like this.
Exactly.
You guys look so fucking good right now. I'm telling you.
So good, right? Thank
Right?
you.
My cats.
My cats.